Welcome to another style study video. I am Matt, and in this session we're going to take a look at style 3D Czech Dark Lager. But before we get into the details, let me give my usual disclaimer and say that I do not represent the BJCP in any way, shape, or form. The BJCP does not authorize nor endorse this video or this set of videos. This entire series is my journey towards my BJCP beer judge certification and learning the styles along the way. All right, let's get into this style 3D Czech Dark Lager. Overall impression: a rich, dark, malty Czech lager with a roast character that can vary from almost absent to quite prominent. Malty with an interesting and complex flavor profile with variable levels of hopping providing a range of possible interpretations. Let's go down to the vital statistics, and we have an SRM range, actually a pretty wide range for a dark lager, I think. SRM range is 14 to 35. The IBUs can range from 18 to 34. The starting gravity or original gravity the range is 1.044 to 1.060, and the final gravity range of 1.013 to 1.017, with a ABV average, or range, I should say, of 4.4 to 5.8%. All right, let's take a look at the characteristics we're going to be filling out or looking for or noting on our score sheet. This is what we're looking for. And if you've seen the other Czech lager videos, you may know where this is headed. So let's first talk about those characteristics specifically. So aroma: medium to medium high, rich, deep, sometimes sweet maltiness with optional qualities such as bread crust, toast, nuts, cola, dark fruit, or caramel. Roasted malt characters such as chocolate or sweetened coffee can vary from moderate to none, but should not overwhelm the base malt character. Low spicy hop aroma is optional. Low diacetyl and low fruity esters, plums or berries, may be present. Going on to appearance: dark copper to almost black color, often with a red or garnet tint. I think I know what garnet is. It's not quite ruby and it's not quite red, I think. I might have to look that up just out of curiosity. Clear to bright clarity, large off-white to tan, persistent head. Now, looking at flavor: medium to medium high, deep, complex maltiness dominates, typically with a malt-rich Maillard product and a light to moderate residual malt sweetness. Malt flavors such as caramel, toast, nuts, licorice, dried fruit, chocolate, and coffee may also be present, with a very low to moderate roast character. Spicy hop flavor can be moderately low to none. Hop bitterness may be moderate to medium low, but should be perceptible. Balance can vary from malty to relatively well balanced to gently hop forward. Low to moderate diacetyl and light plum or berry esters may be present. And finally, mouthfeel: medium to medium full body, considerable mouthfeel without being heavy or cloying. Moderately creamy in texture, smooth, moderate to low carbonation, can have a slight alcohol warmth in stronger versions. And of course, we do have comments, some history, characteristic ingredients, all which can be found at the bjcp.org website. But let's get into the commercial examples. Now, there's some here that I felt have been obtainable, but I could not find them. So, not to blow the lead on what I'm going to be tasting, but it is not a recommended style. It's, I guess, one that someone somewhere somehow suggested, and that's how it came up in a search. But the commercial examples from the guidelines are, I can read some of these. Some are going to be a little tricky. Bohemian Brewery, Cherny Bock, 4%. Budweiser Budvar B, and Devil's Backbone Morena. Those are the ones I can read. The other ones that I don't know how to pronounce, I will now put up on the screen as I wrap up this summary and look at the style guideline. Okay, so like I kind of, well, not even hinted at, but said in the beginning of this, talking about the guidelines, I could not find a style that they laid out as a commercial example, but I did what I've done a couple times in this series now, in fact, a couple times in Style 3 overall, is I typed in Dark Czech Lager into the Bottle Shop website, of where I've gotten many bottles for this entire series, and went with one that came up. Now, this one's a little different because the other ones, they were, a couple of them were, or maybe one was a stretch of the imagination, one was close, but this one was interesting because this, I'll tell you what it is. It's Dark Lager, or maybe Bernard. But here's the thing. Looking on the back of this, which you can't see, so I'll read it to you. It says a Czech unpasteurized beer. So it's Dark Lager by its name, and it's Czech in origin or import. It also says it's imported. I'm not quite sure where it's imported from. I should possibly look at where it was bottled. I'm not really worried about that. I'm more concerned about the style. So I do think I have a Czech Dark Lager, whereas the other ones were someone's interpretation or someone somewhere along the lines described it as being close to that style. So I think this is for not getting a commercial example. I think this is the first time where I have an actual example of the style. It just happens not to be in the commercial example suggested by the BJCP guidelines. Or I could be way off, and even though I'm reading to you exactly what I'm seeing, who knows? I could be way off. Doesn't matter. I'm still going to judge it. I'm going to judge it based on the guidelines of 3D, and I have my highlight sheet here, and we'll run through this before I get to my score sheet. And I'm going to, next few beers here, I'm going to fly without a net. I'm just going to do my best without the aid of I wouldn't say my cheat sheets, but my learning tools. We got a couple here we're going to do without those, and then I'll get back to them. So let's do the initial run through, then I'll pause everything and come back and read off what I interpreted through my score sheet. So let's see if we got a nice little hiss, which we do. Got some good carbonation rolling right out of the bottle. Not going to do a big aggressive pour, but let's see if we can at least get the color of the head. There we go. It's got the off-white head like that. I do remember from the description. So let's take a quick run through the bullet points here. Aroma, medium to medium high maltiness. I smelled it before I even read it. Low spicy hop. Might be able to pull some out here in an extended look at this beer. Low fruity esters, I do get that as well. A little bit of a kind of a even almost. I was gonna say, oh, I just splashed a little beer on my nose there. A little bit of plum, touch a bit of raisin, even kind of a date-like fruit in there too. Appearance, dark copper to almost black. That is almost exactly. Oh, let's see if it has. I'm going to try to remember to look for those highlights. I did see a little bit of a dark red. Maybe that's what garnet is. So there's a bit of a deep, dark, almost actually blood red. It's actually a very cool color coming through that when I hold it right up to the white light. Clear to brilliant to bright clarity. It's hard to tell when it's that dark, but that's clear. I wouldn't call it brilliant. Off-white to tan persistent head. Definitely off-white. Not quite, I wouldn't call that persistent, but I'll get to that in my actual score sheet. Flavor, let's see, medium to medium high complex malt, spicy hop, moderately low to none, perceptible hop bitterness, let's see. Definitely medium high complex malt and a perceptible hop bitterness. Not really getting any distinct hop character that I can pinpoint in one tasting, but I'll work on that. Mouthfeel, medium to medium high complex malt. Yeah, we just said that. I think I actually duplicated. I did. I had to do a quick lookup because apparently I duplicated the flavor elements under mouthfeel. So in the source files here, I put the highlights as medium to medium, full body, moderately creamy, smooth, moderate to low carbonation. Let me give a quick refresher here. Definitely get some creaminess. Moderate to low carbonation is probably actually maybe a little higher than that. Medium body for sure. Smooth, it's actually might be a touch astringent than that, but let me take a closer look at it by pausing the video, filling out my score sheet in 12 minutes or less, and then coming back and letting you know what I got. All right, we are back, and the score sheet is done. It's not as full as I like to do them, but this one was a little hard to kind of nitpick at it. In fact, I got stuck on aroma a good, 4 minutes? So that is a third of my time. So I kind of blew through the rest of this as well, but I still, it's not my best, but it's definitely not my worst. But let's go through it here. So we got the usual stuff at the top to start off with. Category 3, subcategory D. Entry number, Brewmutt Dark Lager. Bottle inspection, check. Branded cap, correct fill, good hiss on open. So aroma. Okay, this is where I was getting stuck because there's a hop note in there I could not put my finger on, and I settled for a word I'm not happy with. So let's get to it, and I'll discuss that here shortly and briefly. So I said strong malty aroma with sweet burnt sugar, plums, and light raisin character. Slight earthy hop aroma, light clove esters as sample warmed up. I could not put my finger on the word I was trying to find for hops, and that's one of the cases where I kind of wish I had my descriptors out here, or maybe even a thesaurus. So the thesaurus might not help in this. Descriptors probably would have helped. I could not put my finger on what I was tasting, and when you don't know the word you're looking for, you're obviously not going to use it. So I kind of wish I had my sheets here. In fact, when I'm done, I'll probably go back. I got quite a bit left. I might run through this again to find that word I was looking for, because it really did bug me that I couldn't find it. But as far as score goes, I give that a 10 out of 12. Moving on to appearance, dark brown with rich blood red highlight. Tan head with tiny to small bubbles that fell to a tight persistent collar, and a light center colony of tiny bubbles, and I gave that a 2 out of 3 based on the style guideline that it should have been a little more persistent. Flavor, a very rich multi-sweetness, pleasant and not at all cloying. Complex flavor profile of plums, raisins, and a hint of green melon, and an ever so slight roast. I wanted to say I tasted it, but it was just barely there, and it was, to me, not out of style, and helped the overall flavor. That's why I wrote it. It sounds maybe a little more verbose than I would do in a, what would you call it, a real life situation, but I'm writing for the test, and I really want to make sure I note that, and note how slight it was and still there, which is kind of the same thing. Nicely balanced bitterness, most notable on the finish. Very clean with a nice clove-like ester on the palate. Yes, clove-like. Yeah, I guess that's the correct phrase I was looking for. 19 out of 20 on that. I really enjoyed tasting this beer and thought it hit everything we had just gone through in the descriptors for flavor. Mouthfeel, medium light-bodied, a pleasant, noticeable creaminess over the tongue, complimentive carbonic bite, medium carbonation, a hair astringent that doesn't distract. I gave that a 4 out of 5. An overall impression, a very enjoyable, complex, and well-crafted beer. Slight head retention issues that could be elevated with more protein-rich malts included in the grist. Very well made, very well represented, and very representative of style, and well done. And all that, and that was a 9 out of 10, and that adds up to a 44 out of 50, which puts it in the excellent range. And I did mark off astringent because I did mention it. And I actually didn't mention what you could do about that, but I did mention the head flavor, or the head retention issue. So I do have to be careful that if I'm going to check it off on the side there, I need to address it, which I did not. So that's a learning lesson for me on that. And I think on that note, that will wrap up this episode. And we'll be back and moving on to another style, of which I have more examples from the guidelines, which is good. Although this really worked out well. I think we got one commercial example. This is for style 3. One commercial example noted, one that is the style, I believe, and 2 that I had to guess at with varying degrees of success, as you've seen in those videos, or you will see if you're just joining us now and you go back later. So, all right. Enough talking about it. Let's get this wrapped up and get on to the next video. So the last thing I have to say is thank you for watching, and I'll be back with another style study session video very soon.